lost my voice a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Just curious, when you're on the headset for the 4th and 1, how did the dialogue go? I mean, you obviously had rep the play in practice that week,
Right.
But I mean, okay, you forego the sneak, but I mean, there has to be conversation. And there was another
Yeah.
play also that you guys were thinking about as well. So.
Sure, we had a play called. We lined up for it. We didn't love the way they were lined up. So it's kind of, as you go and it's a critical situation, obviously you need your timeouts. We still need yards to get a field goal. So there's conversation. We all kind of came to the conclusion it was the most important down. If we didn't all believe in it, let's call timeout and get the right one called. Kind of looking at our short yardage menu, it was suggested that the one we ended up choosing was suggested. Phil immediately said yes, and we just let it ride. And the second you saw it to the players, whatever we would have called, I think they would have executed in that moment.
So you were down with that play, even
Yep.
and the attraction of it. How big of it was the fact that you had never put that thing on tape? Nobody had
Sure.
ever.
Well, we were very confident in how they were lined up. They were in a base 6-1 front, which is something they'd done across the season. So it was specifically put in to attack that front. And we like the idea that it sold the sneak and the push element that's kind of been so common. Trevor obviously converted a sneak in a 2-point play earlier. So all signs kind of just felt that's something we believed in. For it to make it on the call sheet, we believe in it. And then we've kind of, as we've gone in the last month or so, every time we put a play in, we all kind of say, are you comfortable if this is for the season? And if we're throwing it to that guy, or, sometimes that makes a determination of a lot of things that make the call sheet just because as the stakes get higher, we want to make sure we have the right people doing the right thing.
Have you ever seen a play work that well? A big play like work that well? I mean, look, you would have been fine with 1 yard, right?
Yeah.
You get 25 out of it.
One time when I was in Philly, we played in the Super Bowl, and it was 4th and 1, and Doug called like a trick play throwback to the quarterback. That was cool. That worked well. So.
A lot of the players have been referencing the Kansas City game and saying they left a lot on the table. Just when you look at that tape, what do you see?
Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest thought was, we missed a lot of opportunities. Obviously, they're a very good team. You got to take advantage of everything. We stole a little momentum early with the onside kick, and then, the second or third play of the game, I believe we dropped an opportunity at a 40-yard ball, puts us in the red zone. So really, we stole possession with the onside and then didn't do anything with it. Ended up punting it. I think we punted it in the end zone. So we didn't gain anything out of that. There were several other opportunities where we had opportunities to make plays, didn't make plays. Whatever that may be, we had some issues just dealing with the noise, going on the road. And I think looking back early on, I think we all thought we were a good team. We were comfortable with what we put on tape. We had that in our minds that we were this good team, but we hadn't really accomplished anything at that point. And, now we still haven't really accomplished anything, but we've won games. We've, seen that success at the end of the game that I think kind of gets everybody to buy in a little more. Each time that happens, you just buy in a little bit more. So I think now there's this true belief that, whatever the stakes are, it doesn't matter. If we get an opportunity to play in a game, we have an opportunity to win, and we're excited about that.
Doug said Chris Jones is maybe the best interior lineman you guys have faced this year. What makes him so, special and dangerous?
Yeah, I mean, he's huge, first of all. That was one of the things, when you play in Kansas City, their player parking lot is the same. You walk out the same tunnel to go to our bus, and so we were all walking along this guy at the end of the game. And it's like, golly, this guy's huge. And he is. He's a monster. They play him everywhere. So he'll play shade, he'll play 3, he'll play defensive end. He can get matched up on anybody he wants. He's strong, he's powerful, he's quick. He just kind of has what great players have. He has a knack for making a big play when it's needed and really turning it on if you give him a one-on-one opportunity. So, he definitely has our respect.
And then playing in Kansas City before earlier this year, I know playoffs will probably be a different atmosphere, but does that give the offense any kind of experience or help them out at all with the crowd noise?
Yeah, I think having been there, having been in that locker room, having dealt with the crowd noise, having prepared for the crowd noise already, it was cold the last time we went out there, so I don't think that's going to surprise anybody. So anytime you have that experience to lean on, we've now played in 2 games essentially that were win or go home. So every time you do that, I think it just adds a sense of calmness to the guys, and that's what we're looking forward to.
Forecast has changed a little bit.
It has.
Talk about the snow.
Yeah.
Does it change your mindset at all?
Prepare for that in Florida.
Yeah, no, it's tough to prepare for in Florida, obviously, which is okay. I'm fine with that. It's certainly something we talk about. Anytime you're going to play in the elements with your guys, you address it. We talk about it. We do whatever we can to emphasize ball security. And really, that's just going through our techniques and fundamentals. And then within the game, you kind of assess how the surface is, how guys are holding up with maybe things you want to do. I know one time we talked about the weather in here, and we talked about if there's actually weather falling from the sky, sometimes that will change even your thoughts on some of the ball handling things you have in your game plan. Just because the ball gets wet, or there's rain coming down, your gloves get wet, different things. So it's kind of assessing what the field is like, the conditions are like within the game of if you're going to feature some things or not.
You're from that part of the world. It's not the same kind of snow as they get in Buffalo.
Right.
No. Marino always used to say, if it's snowing, I'm throwing. Is it easier to throw in snow?
I don't know. I think, again, it comes down to what it feels like, what the ball feels like. If it's slick ball, it's obviously hard. If there's just heavy snowflakes and you got grip on your fingers, now they've got the hand warmers. They've got all the stuff inside the hand warmers that, the towel that gives you a little bit of moisture on your hands. I think guys have kind of adjusted as things have gone on, learned all the little tricks of the trades, and, guys wear the scuba suits, all that type of stuff to stay warm. So I think guys kind of have a feel for how they want to manage it now.
This team seems to be really close. How rare is that to happen in the first year as everyone's together?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know necessarily how that plays out, but I think it's just we brought in the right people, whether that was the coaching staff or the additions and free agency and the draft. We kept the right people. There were times that you got to let some people go that are good players but just don't fit what we're trying to build, and you hope that you make those decisions and it works out where you've got the right type of chemistry, the right type of character for these guys to come together when it matters most. And this season has kind of forged the relationships that you're seeing now. We've gone through hard times. We've done it together. We've prepared together. We've spread the wealth. This guy's had a big game. That guy's had a big game. That guy's had a bad game. They've kind of gone through so much together. We lost close games. We've won close games. We've blown leads. We've come back. All that stuff, I think, forges the identity of a team that you hope right now, kind of brings together what you're seeing, and everybody's together, believing in each other, supporting one another, and doing everything we can to win.
How important is that for the team to be that close? How important has that been over the past several weeks with the wins?
It's been huge because nobody looks around. I mean, Trevor, at the end of the day, threw 4 interceptions in the first half. There's not one person that looks at him and thinks he blew this game for us. Everybody believes in him. Everybody understands their part in all those issues that we had, whether that coaching staff, offensive line, receivers, whatever that may be. It doesn't matter. That's kind of what we've come down to is our guys don't really care. As long as we have a possession, we have an opportunity to win the game, that's all they're focused on. They're not focused on who did this, who did that, where we're at. Everybody believes that if we have enough possessions to score, we'll be fine. We'll have that opportunity. We got a chance to win the game. That's all we care about.
Chris, going back to the T formation, 4th down play, where's that come from? Who did you borrow that from?
So I believe Phil usually kind of spearheads our run game planning. So Phil and then Todd Washington, Rich Angulo, those guys kind of have their hand in all that. We'll take an idea from anybody. So I believe that was a play that they'd seen Penn State run a couple times. I think in the Rose Bowl maybe Penn State ran that. But yeah, we will take an idea from anybody anywhere if it's going to get us a first down, regardless of when that is. And then again, you take whatever you see. And then you got to mesh it into what we do with our personnel and play into some of the things we've done in the past. We're not just going to steal an idea and run it without having any investigation in it. Every play is too valuable for that. So, but general ideas and things like that, we bounce around all the time. We ran a play with Agnew at Houston. It didn't work. But we ran a play with Agnew at Houston that we stole. Phil and I had texted each other from some Twitter conversation. There was a Bo Jackson run. And we were like, this is really cool. Let's try it. And we tried it with Agnew. It didn't work like it did Bo Jackson doing it. But we'll take an idea from anybody and try it and kind of turn it into something that we already have or something our guys know well. And, that's one of the things that you get an opportunity to do. You get a chance to be creative. Sometimes the players send us ideas, things like that. And you get a chance to kind of all come together and build this thing together.
And then how quickly do you realize in practice that it's going to work or that it has the ability to work?
Yeah. So our short yardage stuff we do on what we consider a Thursday, which is today, a Wednesday, your second practice day of the week. That's when we get into our short yardage 3rd down. So you'll put a play in, you'll start working it. Sometimes it's specific to that defense. So whether we call the play or not, it may go away because you don't see that defense again, or it may be something we like. And we see similar defenses across throughout the season that we continue to play. But we were making jokes because we've got plays named after opponents and stuff like that we've never run. We had a play called Commander or something that was week 1 that we've never run all year, and we've put it on 15 game plans. We just don't get it called for whatever reason. So stuff like that kind of takes on a life of its own throughout the season.
And one last one. When you run it in practice for the first time, defense has no idea?
Well, we practice it typically against our scout defense. So we tell them how to line up. We say this
You
is,
want them in that
yeah,
role.
we want in the look that we expect or we see on tape. So, a lot of times we'll say this is from, they played the Chargers, play 75, whatever it is. And it's a same situation, same people. This is what we anticipate. So that's kind of how it goes.
All right, thanks, Chris.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Guys adjusted fairly well. But in this case, as always against Kansas City, you kind of want to play well against this guy from the start. So what separates him from the rest of the tight ends in the league?
I think he's a unique talent. He's a guy that he blocks well and he has a knack for getting open. He runs the whole route tree, and they utilize him a bunch. So, he's a guy that we'll have to focus on and make sure we are able to try to slow him down.
And Devin said something interesting yesterday, and I'm surprised a rookie kind of knew this, but Devin knew that Kelsey had a quarterback background at some point, and he said that he's got a quarterback's eye when he's out there in a pattern. Is that something that you can see, or is that something that's an important part of why he's good?
Well, that's the thing you talk about. You talk to the players about being able to understand the game and the way he's able to find holes in the defense or find weak areas or drift away from a coverage guy in zone coverage. You can tell that from being a former quarterback that he's able to, see the soft spot in the defense. So that's the things we talk about, and, you just have to be aware of it.
How do you prepare for the unexpected? Because with Mahomes and Kelsey in particular, that's what they are. I mean, you know what they do, but they like to improvise.
That's the thing. We need to focus on trying to keep him in the pocket so he can't improvise, but at the same time, that's what he does. And he's going to be off time, and we just have to understand that we still rush the passer, be relentless, and in coverage, just got to plaster the receivers. It's going to happen. He's going to break the pocket. We just have to understand that, stay in coverage, don't come across, and then let our front go try to contain him.
Patrick's numbers against the blitz in his career are kind of otherworldly. How do you really defend a guy like that who, no matter what you throw at him, he's able to make plays?
That's at the same time, like, you either go 4, you go 5, you go 6, you go 7. We have a variety of defense that we can throw at him. We'll study him, try to take advantage of what we do well, and just go out there and play our game and let the chips fall.
And how big has Robinson Harris been for you guys down the stretch?
He's been huge. You look at it when we lost Smoot. Smoot was such a big part of the defense, the pass rush, just being able to play the run from a different body type. I think Roy's jumped into that role now. He's able to help us out on third down as well as first and second down, and he's been a big part of that pass rush and that pressure package being able to sustain.
Looking back at that Chargers game, you guys are down 27, 5 turnovers on offense and special teams. What are you telling the guys in that moment? Or do you even have to say anything to them? Or what are those conversations like on the sideline?
It was funny. On the sideline, it was just, we so much worry about what we need to do and what's going wrong with our plays. We try to correct those on the sideline. But the funny thing, we went in at halftime, and I walk around the corner, and all the guys are sitting there, had this look on their face like, okay, coach, what's up? And the thing we tried to emphasize was get a stop, offense go score, get another stop, offense go score. And it was a belief that it was going to happen. And it was incredible because the guys, they didn't waver. They understood that, we didn't play our best in the first half and get the ball back to the offense. They'll handle their business, and it happened.
You've been around a lot of ball. Have you ever seen anything like that in your experience, whether as a player, coach, whatever?
It's I don't like to talk about it, but it happened in Tampa when I was down there. When you have a guy, and we had Brady, and I'm not comparing the two, because Trevor's his own guy, but when you have a guy that you believe in, as a defense, it matters to you. And when you're down 27 and you still believe you can win because you know who you have on the other side of the ball, it matters. And that's the big point because there was no hanging your head. There was nobody worrying about anything. It was get a stop, get the ball back to the offense, get another stop, get the ball back to the offense because of who we know we have on the other side. And that's something that's this year, it's offense has bailed us out a bunch of times. We've helped them out. It's a true team that's rolling right now.
How rare is it to see the team come together like this in the first year together, everybody, new coaches, new players? How rare is that?
It really goes to Doug. It's about the message he's brought to the entire team, and the guys believe. We believe in each other, and when you believe, anything can happen. Is it? Oh, wait. Hey, thank you.
Game, Chris Claybrook said he just wasn't anticipating the punt to be that short. Apparently Jamal was trying to warn him and he didn't hear him. Just take us, is that how you saw?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those unfortunate plays. We talk so much about communication, and anytime those balls are on the ground, we're always, trying to communicate, communicate to our other guys across the field to kind of get off the field, because you hate to have those turnovers to put our defense in a tough position. But in that circumstance, I sit there on the sidelines trying to think, how could I coach it different? What could I tell him? The punt was so short, there's nothing I could tell him. He's doing his job. He's doing a good job, blocking his gunner. And unfortunately, I think it's one of those unique circumstances where it was such a short punt. Jamal was running up there trying to communicate, but he's 30 yards away. It's tough to communicate that, and I think it's one of those unfortunate deals. I don't think there's much he can do different or I can do different with that.
When you looked at the tape of the next punt that Tavon picked up and took across midfield, did you think that touched Chris at all? Or
Well, on the
just
field, I
too
was
close for comfort?
too close for comfort, and on the field, I was not sure either. And one of the first thing I asked TC was, what did you think? He said, I didn't know, and I thought the best move was to pick it up and run, and I don't blame him for that as well. It's something that's kind of such a unique play, I think, because you don't see, these punters are so good. You rarely see punts that short that are this concerning. But it definitely, as that game progressed, I had to really think, how did I want to play it? And was there, it kind of takes away potentially bailers and some of those other things that have more guys down the field. It prevents you from having, because you're concerned. It is a concern because those are game-changing plays that could be a big impact on the
So you don't
outcome.
know for certain whether the second one hit Chris at all?
It didn't hit him, but that was a concern.
Is there a code word or a safe word to exit the field, like when that, like for the returner to yell? Or
Yeah,
the
I mean,
sideline to yell?
The kind of universal is Peter, and that's what everybody uses, Peter.
All right.
Yeah.
You don't change that from.
No, I think that goes back a million years ago. That's what it was called when I was playing, and it's still called pretty much universal across the league.
Some more, upbeat. Where were you when Riley was kicking, and what were your emotions when you saw it go through?
I was, well, first off, my position, some of the coaches, were so confident they started taking off headsets and all that stuff, where I thought, I'm not moving a bit. I didn't move from my spot, from my stance. I did not talk to him like I wouldn't on any other kick. Wanted to treat it just like every other kick he's had in a first game of the regular season. And that's exactly what he did. It was out there. I was nervous, of course, but nothing but trust in our operation from Ross to Logan with the hold and then the kick. He's just been so consistent this season, that we just trust him in those kicks and those situations. And, even when they iced him, it was almost laughable to me, just as far as that's part of the process. The other team's going to do that. And then just get back to what we do. Let's just get back to the normal kick, the normal everything. Dude, it played exactly like you do every other kick, and it's exactly what he did. And to see it go through, obviously any game winners are huge. That'll end in the playoffs. So just the game on the line, it's a big deal for the team, big deal for the organization, where we're headed. It was give us another opportunity this week to be out here, practicing with each other, playing this week. It's a cool deal for the team.
The only time Riley's missed 2 in one game was the last Kansas City game since N17 out of 18. Can you pinpoint how he bounced back?
I think he just got back to what he does. He's been a consistent kicker, over his short career, and just getting back to what he does. And it's just all his fundamentals, all his footwork, all his technique, and just getting back to the details of it. And he's just been great for us. I mean, there's not very many kickers across the league have hit, a percentage like that to end the season, and then clutch kicks in the playoffs is big, and just builds his confidence and the team's confidence in him.
As it turns out, against the Titans, 2 field goals in the second half and you won by 4, even with the defensive play, but you needed those 6 points as much as you needed Josh's 6, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, those were big. I mean, special teams was a big impact on that game. We had some good returns by Jamal. Great job by those guys, but those field goals were big in that game. And, coming down in the playoffs or a game like that where the division's on the line, special teams has a big impact because they're all within 3 or 7 one-score games, and, they're all those points are so big. And so it'll be a big impact on this game as well. We got to make all our kicks. We got to cover the field. We got to do all those things because special teams is going to be a huge portion of this game.
Was there something about the temperatures Saturday night that the ball didn't seem to be carrying as far? Because even Logan didn't have that usual, juice on his punts either. I'm just wondering if the cold temperatures might.
Yeah, I mean, anytime there's colder temperatures, the ball is not going to fly as well. It wasn't flying as well for those guys as for their team as well. So I think that's part of it. I mean, as the temperatures get colder, even more wind, all the weather is a factor. But the reality is, both teams have to deal with it. We're going to have some potential weather this weekend. They have to kick and punt it just like we do, and that's why I always look at. Our goals each week is to beat the other, beat the opponent in their net versus our net, and our coverage versus theirs. Because each week is different. If it's a 80-degree day in Jacksonville is way different than a 40-degree day with a little bit of breeze or wind. Your nets are going to be different. The coverage is going to be different. Everything is going to be completely different.
How far out would you have been comfortable, Riley, kicking a field goal in anything but a game-ending situation?
On
that particular.
Those are, schematical stuff that we talk about, obviously, and it changes within the game. And depending on the weather, depending on the direction we were going, the wind was blowing that direction. And so we felt comfortable. He had some more range. The good part about it was we had that big, long 25-yard run that really helped us out a ton. He had some more leg. We could have gone, we felt comfortable a little further out. But the beauty of it, the offense did fantastic, put us in that great position to get there.
Thanks, Heath.
Short and sweet, love it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.